Good evening. Welcome to the January 6, 2026 board meeting. Happy New Year. We are glad you're all here and looking forward to a great 2026 and the last half of this school year. So we'll get started and begin with the invocation by Ms. Lord, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask for wisdom, clarity, and humility as we make decisions that affect the children and the families of our community. Help us listen carefully, act thoughtfully, and lead with integrity and compassion. May our words be measured, our intentions sincere, and our actions guided by what is best for our students. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order. Arms. Left face. Forward. March.
Thank you, Appalachia Cadets. All right, we'll begin with the approval of our minutes. The superintendent recommends the approval of the minutes from the November 20th, 2025 House Bill 581, House Bill 982, Public Hearing 1, the December 2nd regular board meeting, the December 2nd House Bill 581, 92, Public Hearing 2, and the December 9th, 2025 House Bill 581, 92, Public Hearing 3 as presented. Could I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Callaway.
Second, Hendricks.
Motion by Mr. Callaway and second by Ms. Hendricks. All in favor? Thank you. All right, moving on to our agenda approval. Could I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Kelly. Second?
Second, Dr. Carey.
Second by Dr. Carey. All in favor? Thank you. All right, we'll move on to superintendent recognitions. And as we go through our recognitions tonight, if you would all please remain in the room until we have finished with all of our recognitions, and then we'll pause and allow you to exit the room if you choose to do so.
Thank you, Ms. Maloof. Good evening, board members, and welcome to all of our guests. This is a great way to start off the new year. We're going to ask Dr. Bowen to come up to the podium and recognize our student athletes.
Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure to be able to recognize some of our student athletes. Tonight, you're going to hear, and we're going to recognize students who've been honored by being either part of all region teams as individuals or also region champion teams as teammates or team members. So I want to call up a representative from each of the high schools first, and we'll start with Appalachia. Come forward, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Caitlin Schmidt, and I'm the proud new athletic director at Appalachian High School. It is my distinct honor to share with you these student athletes for all of the things that we can recognize them for during our fall sports season. First up, we have first team all-region football, starting with our running back, Colin Eishin, offensive lineman, Caleb Benson. If you guys want to come on. Or do you not want them to move? Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yes, come on up.
Caleb. Defensive lineman, David Robinson. Outside linebacker, Burke McGowan. And defensive back, George Murray. First team, all-region softball, our Offensive Player of the Year, Desire Wells, who is currently playing in a basketball game. Riley Askew. And Sanai Menard, who is also playing in a basketball game. Last but not least, we have first team all-region volleyball. First, Mia Basarte Carrera and Ilana Wingfield. Ladies and gentlemen, our all-region honors for Appalachian High School.
Congratulations to all of you.
Good evening. I'm Deidre Cooper. I am the Activities Director at BASA, and I'm honored tonight to honor a few of our kiddos who've done a great job this semester on their teams. So we're going to start with our competition cheer team. If you guys will come up as I call your name. Abigail Avalos. Liliana Bowen. Juliet Ellis. Julia Francock. Jayla Griggs. Madeline Johnson. Lauren McIntyre. Adeline Metters. Kimberly Mitty. Kelsey Mizell. Harper Parapinski. Morgan Pena. Riley Stooksbury. Isabella Summers. And Isabella Whitlow. So I have to brag on these girls for just a minute. We've had a competitive cheer team at BASA for 4 years. We've had a different coach every single year. And so some of these girls are seniors, and they've seen 4 different leaderships come and go with this team. And this year, they were the 8A D1 region champions. So I'm so proud of them. They went to state, and they finished 13th, and we are so, so, so proud of them. So I want you to give them a big round of applause. All right. So next is our cross-country team. So we had our boys' team members of Orion Chambarello. Not here. Leighton Epps. Alex Everett. Clark Gosling. Ty Madsen. Pearson Morgan. Reed Nalder. And Jack Roberts. All right. So these guys were part of a team who finished first in Region 8A D1 at the sectionals. So give these guys a round of applause for that. Individually, Alex Everett, here on the end, raise your hand, Alex. He made first team all-region, and he finished fourth at state. So congratulations to Alex. He's a frequent flyer at these things, so we're happy for that. Our softball person is not here tonight. She's under the weather, but our Callie Burnett is our softball player who made first team all-region. And Coach DeCoco wanted me to read a little something. She said, although the season didn't work out like we had hoped, Callie's performance this season was nothing short of elite. She said in the region alone, she had stats that put her in second place for Player of the Year. With a .620 batting average and a .648 on-base average. Her consistency at the plate, she had 14 runs, 28 RBIs, 5 home runs, and her leadership on the field and fierce competitive spirit earned her the first spot on the 8A All-Region First Team for Callie Burnett. So she's not here, but I wanted to recognize her for that. And finally, our volleyball, we had 2 volleyball players, Ariel Brooks and Lily King. So Ariel and Lily both made first team all-region this year. Ariel and Lily have been members of our volleyball team for 4 years, and they're terrific examples of student athletes, and they've helped Bassett reach the Division 1A playoffs for 3 consecutive years, and they've done that while maintaining a spot on our honor roll for their academic achievements. So if you'll give all these guys a round of applause again.
Good evening. My name is Jared Noble, the Athletic Director at Winding High School, and I'm pleased to be able to recognize some outstanding student athletes this evening. We'll start first with our football players. We will have some that are not here tonight because our boys and girls are playing basketball over Loganville, so we're wishing them the best. But up first, a young man who I believe he broke 19 or 20 school records this year. He was also named the Offensive Player of the Region, Offensive Player of the Year for Region 8, 5A, MJ Dowdy. Up next, Grayson Engel, all-region football wide receiver. London Munoz, all-region football wide receiver. Chad Trueblood, all-region football offensive lineman. Jackson Lee, all-region football offensive lineman. Xavier McCoy, all-region football defensive back. This next young man is a sophomore, but he was recently also named an All-American. Sophomore, first-team all-region defensive back, Giovanni Tuggle. Next, we have all-region football, Braylon Billings, defensive lineman. And last for football, Pierce Balargeron, football, all-region football linebacker. Next, we'll recognize a young lady. She's playing basketball tonight, but will be our first all-region member of a flag football team. Miss Contasia Hartman was first-team all-region flag football for our area this year. Up next, we've got softball. First-team all-region softball, Aubrey Scott. First team all-region softball, Addie Patterson. First team all-region softball, Sarah Barton. Up next, volleyball. Our sole individual for volleyball, first team all-region, Miss Natalie Lunt. And we'll finish up with our competition cheer, first team all-region. Logan Claire Anderson. Sarah Grace Bramlett, first team all-region competition cheer. Braylon Newsom, first team all-region competition cheer. And last but not least, Miss Peyton Sinkfield, first team all-region competition cheer. And if we could give these students one more big round of applause for the countless hours they put in working hard towards their goals.
Hey, my name is Russ Hodgson. I'm the athletic director at Heyman Morris Middle School, and I would like to take a moment to recognize an outstanding achievement by our Heyman Morris boys cross country team. Through consistent effort, discipline, and teamwork, these athletes competed at a high level all season and earned Heyman Morris's very first league championship in athletics for any sport. This accomplishment reflects not only their talent, but their commitment to one another and to representing Heyman Morris with pride. I would like to now call up our top runners. Charlie Huff. Miles Henderson. Lance Devalier. Eric Villagomez. Blake Waldrop. Cameron Dews. And Damian Blake. Please join us again in congratulating our boys cross country team on an excellent season and a well-deserved championship.
Sorry, one more Winder-Barrow student. We had a certificate we didn't have, but I saw him in the audience. We had one more all-region football. He was a safety, Mr. Devontae Livingston. If we give him a big round of applause.
Thank you and congratulations, students. I'm now going to welcome Mr. Joe Perno to do our custodial recognition.
Good evening. We appreciate the opportunity tonight to recognize our custodian of the month, Miss Adriana Madera, head custodian at Winder Elementary School. Please come forward, Adriana. And I'd like to read a few words about Adriana from our principal at Winder Elementary, Dr. Neer. We're proud to recognize our head custodian, Adriana Madera. Ms. Madera has been with us for close to 2 years, and during that time, she's been instrumental in ensuring our building is clean, safe, and ready for students each morning. She's worked tirelessly and consistently going above and beyond to support our school. Adriana is also incredibly helpful with after-hours events. Most recently, she and another custodian stayed late to help clean up after our annual Monster Mash dance. We're truly thankful for Adriana and greatly appreciate her leadership, dedication, and commitment to keeping Winder Elementary clean and welcoming. Thank you, Adriana.
And finally, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ayers to come and do our transportation recognition.
How's everybody doing tonight? All right, we ain't got but 30 of them, so it'll be just real quick, and stuff. So anyway, just bringing in 2026, our newest members of the Hood Ornament Customer Service Club. We've got Angela Barrow. Some of the things that were expressed from the school and staff that interact with her, she's just very soft-spoken. The kids love her, just kind, respectful all the time. So you guys know that's the kind of thing we like to bottle up, you know what I'm saying, and sell it when we can and everything. So we appreciate her. Got Reginald Bischoff, which we call him Reg. I'd say at this point, Reg is like a Swiss Army knife. We found out he's good for a little bit of everything and stuff. Definitely a yes guy, and he even smiles while he's driving the bus. We ain't figured out how he's pulled that one off, but anyway, we appreciate him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Reg. All right. Let's give him a round of applause. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Board members, this concludes the superintendent's recognitions. To our guests who wish to leave, you can do so now, but please feel free to stay as well if you'd like.
Congratulations.
I already threw it away.
Okay. Yeah, if anything happens, we have the same script. Yep. Maybe you got some markings there, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to.
Okay, 210. Not without extra stuff.
All right. Welcome, Dr. Lancaster from Bear Creek.
Good evening, Dr. LaDuff, members of the board, and other guests. My name is Dr. Shane Lancaster, and I'm incredibly blessed to serve as the principal at Bear Creek Middle School. With me tonight, I have Miss Emily Fowler, assistant principal at Bear Creek. And we want to take a slightly different approach to the Bold Spotlight tonight. As I interviewed for the principalship at Bear Creek, I made the comment in my interview process that if we talk about leadership at Bear Creek and all you hear is the name of the principal and the name of the assistant principals, then we're not leading the right way. So tonight we're going to speak to you very briefly about the Bear Creek family and some of the incredible things that are taking place at Bear Creek. So we want to provide for you a snapshot of what's been happening at Bear Creek Middle School since August.
All right, as you can see, we are growing, and we are growing a lot. And so we celebrated 6 marriages this past summer, 3 engagements, 2 babies, and 2 families are expecting babies. And so that's one of my most favorite things about Bear Creek is that we are a really just large family, and the way we support each other and embrace each other, not only in our professional lives, but also our personal lives. And so we have just had tremendous fun this year celebrating all of the growth in our family's personal lives. And so this is just a few pictures that you could see all the cuteness that's going on.
I often comment that Bear Creek's located in a town that has only one traffic light, but in a town so small, there's some really big things happening at Bear Creek. So spotlighting some of the things that we have taking place. Our full-time counselor, Ms. Caitlin Lackey, has initiated a peer mentorship program in which 8th grade students are paired with 6th grade students. It helps facilitate that middle school transition. It helps those 6th grade students that are needing further assistance with the social, emotional, and the academic adjustment as they become accustomed to Bear Creek Middle School. Ms. Lackey was recently awarded an $1,800 grant from Tanger Outlets for Tanger Kids, the Tanger Kids grant, to fund the peer mentorship program, so we're incredibly proud of her. Ms. Caitlin McAllister recently received a $14,000 grant to purchase the IXL program, and we've utilized those funds in that program to overhaul our extended learning time at Bear Creek, and this structure allows us to provide more remediation and enrichment opportunities for our students, and we're seeing tremendous growth in our MAP scores as a result. Ms. Tiffany Owenby, our agriculture education teacher, she's been actively seeking ways to expand the ag education program. This year she's implemented livestock shows, and we've had, for the first time ever at Bear Creek, students actively participating. We have 2 students that are showing lambs this year at Bear Creek. Ms. Owenby also received the Grants for Growing grant sponsored by Tractor Supply and the National FFA organization, in which she received $4,000, and we are using those funds at the school to add storage outside as we are promoting the outdoor agriculture education program. Ms. Kim Wilson was recently awarded a $1,550 grant from Jackson EMC as a part of the Bright Ideas grant. Ms. Wilson is hosting a project with her students called Georgia Through Our Eyes, in which she is using those funds provided by Jackson EMC to purchase GoPro-style cameras that the students will use as they travel throughout the state, interacting with historical sites and other monuments, and they're going to bring those experiences back home so that they are seeing the standards in action in real life. Ms. Wilson also arranged with Ms. Marcy Kicklighter, the regional tourism manager, through the Georgia Department of Tourism, to present to our students in-house at Bear Creek in a cool collaboration that's taking place with Ms. Wilson's class and the Georgia Tourism Department. As our students are traveling and recording, the Georgia Department of Tourism will likely implement much of their footage in recruitment videos that will be used at the state level to promote the state in general. Ms. Linda Chen, our Spanish teacher, has expanded our club opportunities this year by offering a Spanish club. We are one of the few schools, middle schools in the district, is blessed enough to offer a Spanish program, and we are expanding that through offering club services. And Ms. Sandy Love also has expanded club opportunities by providing our students with a chess club this year. So you're seeing the academic as well as the extracurricular. Ms. Rachel Shook, our PBIS coordinator, was instrumental in Bear Creek being one of 2 middle schools in Barrow County to receive the distinguished school status in terms of PBIS from the Georgia Department of Education. A key way that we are taking that recognition and expanding it and running with it is we are looking for multiple ways to expand what we call our mini PBIS opportunities, such as popcorn bars, water bars, other opportunities to recognize the positive in our students at Bear Creek, and we have a tremendous amount to be proud of, and we're seeing tremendous growth and payback from that. In general, at Bear Creek, we were one of the schools that received L4GA funds, so another in-house growth that we are extremely proud of is the way we utilized much of those funds, and we have overhauled our media center as well as creating 4 what we call collaboration rooms that provides our students with additional support by providing opportunities for active learning, obviously collaboration as the name implies, while promoting student engagement and reinforcing the school's literacy initiatives. So we're extremely proud of our in-house growth opportunities. Excuse me. In terms of professional growth, one of the comments that I quite often make is at Bear Creek, the strength lies in the people that are inside that building. So showcasing some of the strength that I have the blessing of working with each and every day. Ms. Taylor Vandiver, one of our 6th grade science teachers, recently presented at the 2025 Georgia ETC conference. At that conference, she was named one of the Rising Star Educators. In a moment, you will see how Ms. Vandiver, as well as others that we will mention, have brought their experience and training back home to redeliver to the teachers in-house. Ms. Durley Lee, our chorus teacher, was recently recognized as a distinguished graduate at Georgia Southern, and she was invited to come back and speak to the music program, in particular the music education program. As she shared that opportunity with me, I collaborated with Dr. Nicole Baker to gather some Barrow County school system recruitment supplies. So Ms. Lee went down not only to speak as a distinguished guest, but she also went down as an ambassador of Barrow County Schools and made multiple contacts while she was there. Shortly after she returned from that trip, Ms. Lee was also featured in the Georgia Music Educators Association newsletter for her accomplishments. 8 of our teachers are currently pursuing advanced degrees, and 4 teachers recently completed those degrees. So as we speak, 23% of our teachers at Bear Creek have either just completed advanced degrees or they are currently working on it, and we have more as we speak that are currently enrolling. So continuing that process of not only talking about lifelong learners, but being lifelong learners. 2 of our 6th grade teachers, Miss Ashley Price and Danielle Terrell, they are actively working with the University of North Georgia in a research collaboration, and they're using that to support our literacy and instruction initiatives across all contents. In a moment, we will share an example of how they are bringing that research back home to Bear Creek. This past Friday, we were blessed to have the time to host in-house professional learning sessions where we utilize the strength of our teachers. So showcasing some of those, Mr. Tim Helton delivered a classroom management and engagement strategy session, while Ms. Ashley Price and Danielle Terrell delivering part of their UNG research in terms of critical thinking and source credibility. Ms. Kimsey Bills, acting upon an opportunity that was made available from Barrow County Schools as a district where she attended a math conference, brought that material back home to Bear Creek and redelivered a professional learning session for building thinking classrooms. Ms. Taylor Vandiver bringing her ETC experience back and delivering PL in tech and the impacts on literacy. Instructional coach Ms. Lindsay Ryden delivering PL for quad texts, while Ms. Katie Midas, our reading apps teacher, and Rachel Shook, our academic interventionist, delivered PL with vocabulary and comprehension. Ms. Ryden, taking extra steps not only at a school level but at a district level, has been very instrumental in leading a lot of our curriculum instruction efforts at a district level, and throughout the year, in alignment with our school improvement plan, has designed and effectively delivered multiple PL sessions ranging from vocabulary, comprehension, morphology, and other aspects that directly impact student literacy.
All right, so this professional growth is just overflowing and increasing our academic growth as well. We're seeing our MAP scores increase. Our 6th grade team, which include Ashley Price, Danielle Terrell, Kimsey Bills, and Kyle Crocker, they just recently did a fun little thing with their team, and they did tats for stats. And so they challenged their students to meet their growth and exceed their growth in MAP, and if they were able to do that, they were able to put a tattoo on their teacher. So these sixth grade students, absolutely, you can see the picture up there, they were covered because our students made so much growth. They just really accepted the challenge, and it really worked for their team, and so we were super proud to see that growth there. We've had 3 all-state winners for our chorus group. Our band had 6 students that were selected to participate in the UGA Midfest. And we've also seen a huge reduction in the number of students who are failing first semester due to our remediation efforts that are happening in our extended learning time in conjunction with our IXL. So that's, we're really excited about that as well. We added a Connections Career Exploration class this year, and our students have just really embraced that course. They've loved being able to work on soft skills. They've been doing mock interviews. They've been doing some financial planning. They've been exploring careers, and every time I walk in there, the students are just super excited about what they're doing, so that's been a breath of fresh air as well. We were able to offer the credit in lieu of test for 23 native Spanish speakers. We actually had 21 of those students that were eligible for Spanish 1 credit, so they're going to be going into high school with the Spanish 1 credit. And out of those 21, 17 of them also received credit for Spanish 2. So that's really impressive. That's actually the largest number that we've had so far as well. So we're excited to be able to see those students go into high school with some credits under their belt as well.
In terms of other areas that we are extremely proud and we consider them our glows, my mindset as a former coach is you've never arrived. That's why we titled this slide, The Growing Glows. So even though we have a lot to be proud of, we are still constantly seeking that continued growth. As I mentioned earlier, Ms. Rachel Shook was instrumental in having Bear Creek being named as one of 2 schools in Barrow County that was named a PBIS Distinguished School, while Ms. Kayla McAllister was instrumental in leading our Beta program, and our Beta Club was recently named a National Beta School of Merit. A phrase that I've used a lot this year is, I want our students to take care of our community, and I want to see our community take care of our students. And I will tell you, in the town of Statham at Bear Creek Middle School, that is exactly what is happening. Ms. Tony Sessions earlier this year led our largest in-house fundraiser. We refer to it as Grizz Bash, and our community came together and under Ms. Sessions' leadership raised a total of $20,480. And yet again, you saw our students stepping up as we were conducting the Grizz Bash activities, our FFA program. Our students in that program sacrificed their time and their interactions in the festivities to lead and serve others. So FFA was instrumental in that as well. Our student council recently led a food drive at Bear Creek Middle School where over 3,000 cans of food were collected and donated to a local food bank inside the city of Statham. And our student council also partnered up with the Barrow County Sheriff's Office Christmas for Kids program, where over 2,000 toys were collected for families in need. Miss Ashley Price, our club leader for our future teachers, has been instrumental in providing opportunities for our future teachers. 2 such examples of our future teachers giving back is them volunteering at Statham Elementary, reading to the younger kids, and also taking part in midday literacy activities at the Statham Public Library. Our FCCLA 8th grade chorus and FFA also recently teamed up to do what I'm calling caroling and crafts at Mulberry Senior Living Assisted Living Facility. So once again, you see our students getting in the community and giving back. But you also see the community coming to us. The Boo on Broad, for those of you that are familiar with Statham, it's an annual 5K run that's a fundraiser. Boo on Broad made a very significant donation to the Bear Creek cross-country program, and we're extremely grateful for that. And recently, the Statham Halloween Committee, as well as a local HOA agency inside the city of Statham, volunteered and raised the funds to sponsor 3 families, or 3 students rather, from one collective extended family inside the city limits of Statham at Christmas time. We're also seeing excellence on the courts and on the field. I was very blessed to hear a lot of former Grizzly names called earlier when the high schools presented. So you may have seen me in the back corner going, that was one of ours, and that was one of ours. So a huge source of pride. Our girls basketball program recently claimed the title of Barrow's Best. Our boys finished runner-up in an incredible game to Russell Middle School. That game went down to overtime, so our boys and girls basketball programs are holding their own. In other areas aside from academics, you will also see Ms. Rachel Shook, our PBIS coordinator, developing what we are calling in-house field trips. While funds may not always allow us to go out, they do allow us to bring them in. And we had a tremendous experience partnering with the Alliance Theater, bringing them in for the production titled The Melvin Invention. So you once again see the community from the outside coming in for the students that can't venture out. So once again, just kind of bringing you a snapshot, highlighting some of the things that are happening at Bear Creek. We knew there was no time to stand up here, not enough time rather, to stand up here and showcase everything. So we wanted to showcase some of the people that are stepping up each day, leading, showing up for our students day in, day out. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lancaster. A lot of great things going on. All right, moving on to our presentations and discussions. We'll start with Dr. Thompson with our Deputy Superintendent report.
Good evening. We have 4 items of information and 2 action items for the board this evening. I'll start out with the 2 quickest, mostly just posted for your information. We have the 80th day student count posted for your review. That was taken on Monday, December 8th. And you can see where we stacked up compared to last year in terms of enrollment on that date. We also have the communications report posted as well for the board's perusal. I would like to ask now for Dr. Bowen, Mr. Skinner, and Mr. Curott to come up. If you recall, back in July, just before the school year started, we gave you a presentation on some of the new safety enhancements that we were putting in place, both because they were part of a natural progression of what we were already doing in terms of school safety, and also some of which were now required under the new laws that were passed post-September 4th. So we gave the board that update. So one of the things we wanted to do was to come back mid-year and give you a status update on several of those initiatives, many of which have made tremendous progress due to the work of these gentlemen here, who will be sharing that with you now.
Hello, always happy to come and talk more about our safety. A lot of this is going to be, the part I have is going to be a review for you. I do have some update on some new things that I hope you'll be excited about. But here's our timeline that we like to share, and we've added for 2025. We added our detectors and we added school dog, and we're looking forward to continuing to adding more spots and enlarging our chart even bigger with our next advancements. We did update our EPP, our preparedness procedure manuals last year, made some adjustments. We have those in all classrooms now. And we also are able to have our operational plan on our mobile app, which we've got some, I've pulled it up today just to make sure that everything's working right. It is, and I think to have that on our fingertips is a big plus for our staff. This is just a recap of our safety drills. We're about halfway through, obviously, with the year, so we're halfway through all our drills. We have done at least one of every drill at this point, and January is going to be another intruder lockdown drill. Move forward with our weather drill in February and continue to have our fire drills there. Our Centesics alert system, we're still using that. We've had a few glitches here and there that I would say are just operator error. It's the price we pay to have this on every employee's person, as we do get some accidental presses sometimes. But as you know, any staff member can alert a response team within their building with 3 presses, and they can alert a 911 response and lock the building down with 8 presses. We do have a few accidental 3s, and we've even had 1 or 2 accidental 8 presses. But for the most part, not near as many as you might think coming into with 3,000 of these badges going around our system. We also are able to use the app that comes with Centesics to conduct some of our drills. We don't usually use our badges to do the drills. We usually use apps to do that. The app will also give a location of where the incident is and where the alert was set off in the building. Centesics also offers us a blueprint mapping tool, which I'm going to let Rob talk about here shortly. He's put all the work in on that, so I want him to explain that to you. But that's just one piece of it. We can activate alert, like I said, with the app through our phone, and then What we can also do afterwards then is go back and review the drill and debrief on it. And one of the things that we want to do when we drill is not just make sure that all of our students and staff are doing what they should do. We want to make sure all our equipment is working properly as well. And we've actually found some items when we do drills that we need to replace or update. We've also discovered that we need to add some more strobes in certain areas in the building. We didn't feel like we had enough. One of those areas was a kitchen area. So we're going back now, and Rob's leading that up for us too as well by adding some more strobes. Rob is very good in this particular area, and therefore we're able to have him install some of the equipment rather than paying Centegic's contractor to come out and do it, which is going to save us some money, but also more familiarizes him with how the system works. And he's just been a blessing to have on our staff in a lot of ways, but especially in this area of Centegic's. He's got a real talent there. Our school resource officers obviously are a huge priority and a big piece of the safety in our school system. Partnership with the Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Judge Smith is very important to us. And our SROs have a vital role, as we know, not only during our incident on the 4th of last year, but every day they serve a crucial role with us as a deterrent, but also as a response mechanism to keep our students and staff safe. And I want to thank the board and thank our community as well for prioritizing school safety and prioritizing that not just in words, but also where we put our funds and where we put our time is what's really important to us. And we obviously are investing in the safety of our students and staff, and I appreciate that very much. This is a new tool we started using this year, which is the Stop It anonymous reporting tool. What this allows is for anyone to be able to submit 24/7 through the app, through the website, or through a hotline, a concern that they have. We've gotten a variety of different reports here. Some of them are directly related to things at school. Some of them are domestic issues that kids are reporting from home. But they go through this particular dispatch, and they're processed and they're categorized as to what kind of alert it is. And then we have a response from the Stop It folks. And that, if it's deemed to be a serious enough response, they actually call us, a person, not an automated call from a machine, but a person will call us. I've gotten 3 or 4 of those calls. I know John's gotten a few of those too. And they tell us, look, we've got this report. It's urgent. We're not just sending an email. We're not even sending a text. We're actually calling and talking to someone, and they keep calling until they talk to a person. If they don't talk to us and they deem it to be to a certain level, they actually will call the Sheriff's Department and report it to investigations through the Sheriff's Department. So we've been very happy with our service here. It also keeps a really good log and a record of these things being reported, but also our response to it, which is important for us to be able to document how we're responding. There's a responsibility that comes with having a reporting system, that is that we're responding to it. I think this system is doing a great job with helping us do that and to help us document those responses as well. School Dog is another fairly new app and tool that we're using. We have gotten about 12,000 entries into our School Dog, and that's mixed if you start comparing different schools and different areas there. Some schools have a lot more than others. So one thing that we're doing this week on the SRO side is Tim Latteral is talking with his SROs to kind of set some expectations of what we would like to see there. We've got a few SROs one particularly who's entered several thousand entries himself. And he's actually taken it and run with this tool and created a lot of good data for us. It hasn't been used as much in some other places, so Tim and I are working together to try to establish something that's reasonable and how we use that tool, but also going to be talking with the principals on Thursday about how we want our staff and our admin to be using the tool as well. So far, we've got about 93% of our entries have been praises. It doesn't mean that 7% are negative. Some of them are not either. They're not a praise or a concern. They're just information. What we've also been able to develop there, too, is communication with our maintenance department as we find things in our building that are not working, whether it's a lock, we got a latch door's not closing, we've got a light that's not coming on that should be on. And then we've also just got the day-to-day vigilance of keeping doors closed and locked, monitoring or supervising certain areas, making sure we don't have something as simple as water on the floor. All those things are things that can be reported through School Dog. We look forward to sharing more and more data about that, but I did want to share that we have about 12,000 entries now, and we're looking at getting some of our schools need more, and some of our schools have plenty. So we want to try to bring a little uniformity there to that, but it's been a useful tool for us so far. We have a new stat or new data that we're keeping is required by 268, which is we're receiving and maintaining records of encounters that our students have with law enforcement. It doesn't necessarily mean law enforcement encounters that happen away from school. We also document the encounters that happen at school. And the way that's reported is it usually goes through Lieutenant Lateral, who then, we've created a form, Ms. Persinger created a form for him to fill out for each of these encounters. So then it goes and populates into a spreadsheet. We're averaging about 10 or 12 reports per week. So right now, the last time I checked, we did have over 180 different reports of encounters. The majority of those were not reports that resulted in students being charged with any crimes, even though these are limited to investigating potential threats. They're not speaking to someone and saying hello to someone or asking them to tie their shoe. That's not an official encounter. The official encounter that we're targeting here are the potential threats. And remember where the motivation from this comes from is so that when we have law enforcement that talk to students about threats, we want to know that, whether it happens in our building, which most of them we would know about. We want to know about the ones that happen away from our building as well, that involve our students. And we want all the other systems in our area to do the same thing. So when those students transfer to us or when our students transfer out, that data goes with them. That information goes with them, and we know what's happened before. And we've done some test cases to see about incidents we know happened. We want to make sure they got reported. Our police departments, as well as our sheriff's departments, are doing overall a pretty good job of getting that to us. We wanted to start out with over-reporting. That's what we wanted to do to start with, and we got some over-reporting, which is good, but that gives us a chance to go in and weed out some of the things that don't need reporting, and that's better than potentially having under-reported and missed some things. So we feel really good about where we are on that as well. Are there any questions about that? That's something new about official encounters, keeping that data. That does become part of the student record. It goes with the student as they transfer in and out, ideally. Okay, now we'll bring up Skinner, John Skinner, let him talk to you a little bit about some other things.
I'm going to talk to you about threat assessments today. I don't think we've covered this in the past, but just take a minute just to briefly go over threat assessment process regarding our current process and then where we're trying to go to with a new system here, hopefully in the next few months. And I'd like to begin by saying that threat assessments are a proactive safety practice. It's about identifying concerns, and then the most important part is actually pulling a team together and try to redirect these behaviors. There's supports and resources out there. When we get the whole team together, we're able to identify all these and pull this stuff together at that point. Our current process, we follow the Secret Service model now. It's been in place before my time, and we've continued that. It is designed for school systems. Teams are typically comprised of different backgrounds and departments, so you're going to have your admin group, you're going to have your SRO, you're going to have social workers, your school counselors, et cetera. A lot of that depends on the situation and what we're dealing with, too, who's going to be involved in that. If you go to the next slide, gives you a quick snapshot of threat assessments that have been conducted in the last few years. When you see this, I don't want you to view it as a negative because you see numbers going up. We encourage our students and staff to report. We have tip line in use, which we just kind of talked about a while ago. And then most importantly, I think our staff is trained better now to recognize a lot of things. And so they'll report that. Not all threats end up in a credible threat. Just want to make sure that's clear too. All right, if you go to the next slide. This is what we're looking to go to with the new module through Infinite Campus, the B-Town module. And this will give us a secure location to keep all this or house all this information. As a positive, this is not adding a new system. This system's already in place. We're just adding a new module. So our staff's already familiar with this system. It's a big thing going forward. The module itself We just purchased this. We should get this in place with our staff. We're going to do district training, and then we'll do our staff training afterwards. But it's a guided process. I've already printed. You probably don't want to know how many pages I've printed, but I had to print it because I like to go through it. So it is. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to make it a whole lot easier for our staff. It's definitely a step-by-step workflow. It's going to make our process much easier moving forward. All right. I think Rob is going next.
Excuse me. Hello. So they've been talking about House Bill 268. My part of it, and John with Centegics, has been the mapping compliance using Centegics. Part of it is accessibility, really, for any first responders and stuff that might have to respond, whether that's digital, obviously, we have it on our computers and stuff, but also the capability of being able to print it out and hand it to somebody who might not have that capability. Integration with emergency services, obviously we already have that. We have it taken over to computers, not only in the schools, but for all the first responders, whether they're EMTs, firemen, or paramedics with computers in their car. Also the annual verification, we have to basically audit it to make sure all the stuff is correct every year because things are added, things are taken away. We want to make sure that we're always have the freshest information. Floor planning, mapping data, access points, room numbers, doors, stairwells, hallways, critical utilities such as gas cutoffs, water cutoffs, electrical cutoffs, key boxes, AEDs, trauma kits, things like that are inside the schools or around the schools. Exterior mapping data, basically parking areas, neighboring properties. I'll show you later on the slide, how far out that mapping actually goes. It's not just the school. Excellent. So we're following the when, what's important now. So if an alarm that they talked about earlier, if Centegics is alerted, basically this is kind of what you're going to see the officers or the first responders are going to see when they first get an alert. It'll show the school itself and the red glowing dot inside of it where the actual alert happened inside the school. So basically from the responding officer, that's what's important right then. They need to get to that school and start knowing exactly where at in that school they need to go to. So the other side of that is once you get there, you can open the system completely up to where you can see all assets. I don't know if you can see that, but there are a lot of dots on there, and first responders might not need to see all those dots. They might not need to see every camera or door card reader or something like that. So they have the capability of, on the next one, you'll see if, let's say it's a fire, and the first responders are getting there, they need to know where every fire extinguisher is in there. They can make it to where they just see the fire extinguisher and get to it. Same thing, whether it's a bleed control kit or an AED, they'll know where it's at inside that school and they can get to it quickly. This is kind of I wish I could say 30,000 foot view. That's more like 4,000 foot, really. But just to kind of show you some of the mapping that's outside of the school, if you'll see, there's a little dot in the middle of the practice football field. That's actually to show different fields. That's one of the requirements by the state, playgrounds. Also, if you'll see the First Presbyterian Church and First Christian Church, it's mapped on there as well. If you go around in a big circle, we've been able to, basically, even Holly Hill is marked on there. This building is marked on there. CFIT's marked on there. The elementary and middle school is marked on there. So that if somebody not as familiar with our area needed to know, they might not know where Winaberra High School is, but they might know where Holly Hill Mall is, and they can get to it quickly from there. Any questions? All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to actually dovetail back to their presentation when we get a little bit into the strategic planning item, because there's an item I want to point out that I think is pretty meaningful when you consider the work that's been done in the area of school safety. One of the things for the last information item we wanted to update the board on, and the community on, frankly, is where our strategic planning process is. At the end of October, we had just completed our community feedback event. We came and talked a little bit about how that went, talked about those next steps, and because this is something that we're hoping to bring to the board for approval towards the end of the spring, we want to keep everyone aware of where we are at in the strategic planning process and what's coming next. So I'm going to take a few minutes tonight to walk you through that and answer any questions you may have. This is the strategic planning model. I will point out we are using the Georgia School Boards Association, GSBA, as our facilitators. One of the things that we found over the years is it's really important when you do a strategic planning process like this to engage someone who has a lot of experience in that area to guide you through that process, because no matter how savvy you are in those areas, it helps to have that outside objectivity of someone who can facilitate through that and help you see your own blind spots. And so there's a lot of folks who do this kind of work. GSBA probably does this for more districts in the state than anyone else, and we are very appreciative for their leadership as we go through this. But this is their strategic planning model, which is similar to a lot of strategic planning models you've seen before in other contexts. You start out with who are we, what are our mission, what are our beliefs, what's our vision, where are we at now? That's based on key metrics, key performance indicators, feedback from your stakeholders. Where do we want to go? That's the vision of the shared community. It is the community school district. We want to try to get as many voices as possible, giving us that vision of where we want to go. That's where your strategic goal areas and priorities come from. We're going to talk about those in just a second. How will we know when we've arrived? That's when you go back to that scorecard of key performance indicators and metrics that you're constantly examining so that you can revise your strategies in light of new data. And then how do we plan when we get there? What do we do once we've received that? How do we go forward? Where do we take it to the next level if we achieve what we're trying to do a little bit early? This is the various steps in the model. When last we presented on this, we had just completed our community engagement SWOT. We had also had the board training in SWOT and a governance team commitment. Since then, we have had the community survey, which we'll see some of the results of and the data on who took that survey in just a second. And we've also had our first of the 2 large-scale meetings to turn all of that feedback, all that data into an actionable plan. That was the planning team meeting. We'll talk about that in just a second. Our next steps are the action team meeting, some goal area work, and then eventually that will culminate in the board approval. The work of the planning team is to take all of that feedback from the community, all of those data that we have on each of these key performance indicators, along with our beliefs, missions, and vision, and to craft strategic goal areas and performance objectives, and I'll talk about those in just a second, and to culminate that in a strategy map. And you're going to get a chance just a second to see what our draft version of our strategy map looks like. What will come next is the action team. They're going to take that work the planning team has begun, and they're going to start selecting key performance measures that we'll be using to hold ourselves accountable through the process, as well as developing the initiatives and strategies that we're going to use to achieve in those performance measures. And then ultimately that will come down to our district employees will put together a finalized version of the plan that goes to the Board of Education for review and ultimately approval. If you recall, we had about 240 individuals who came out for our community feedback event, which exceeded our wildest expectations, and we are so thankful to everyone who came out and who supported and worked at that. We had the survey open for about 3 weeks. We had 691 individuals completed that survey. About 64% of those were parents of BCSS students, and 46% were BCS employees, and many of those individuals were in both buckets. But across both the survey and those that came, 56 to the community event, 56% of the people who gave feedback were parents of Barrow County students, which we're very pleased with. If you'll recall, when we left that community event, we showed you the photos that we had 137 posters that had all kinds of feedback given by community members, staff, students, parents, and priority stickers where individuals read everyone else's feedback and said, this is what I think the key priorities are. And additionally, we then had 691 individual responses on a survey, including open-ended responses. So a tremendous amount of staff work went into consolidating that feedback across both of those components to try to come up with broad and narrow themes of feedback, because the goal was to give the planning team the basic summary of what the community said across both of those opportunities for giving feedback. Broad themes are what they sound like. They're basically big areas of prioritization, things like we might have individuals who will give all kinds of examples of we need to support English language learners better. We need to support special education students better, and we might lump those together under student supports, for example. That would be a broad area of feedback. The narrow areas of feedback were when we saw key specific areas that just kept coming up over and over again across both methods, and with high levels of prioritization from individuals on the survey and on the event. We wanted to tease those out as well. So what you have, and I'm not going to go through this in detail, this report is posted on our website. We wanted to be as transparent as possible, but we did a lot of work for the planning team to try to look at those broad and narrow themes. So you can see the broad themes under strengths for both the community feedback event and the survey. You can see, if you keep working forward, Megan, you can see the areas needing improvement. And you'll notice that some of these show up on both, and that's not surprising when you dig into that. For example, staff quality and development. Under strengths, we saw a lot of themes that had to do with we have high quality, committed, caring staff, but it was also under a weakness when you dig into the narrow themes, and this is why you do narrow themes, is what it came down to was we're worried about retaining them and compensating them fairly so that we keep them. So broad areas can show up in multiple phases of your strategic plan. That's why you want to have both broad and narrow themes. You can see the areas needing improvement. You can see the opportunities if you move forward, Megan. And then finally, our threats. The last section of that I want to show, and this is where I want to tease something out. This is the consensus feedback themes. This is those narrow things that came out overwhelmingly, that were highly prioritized in terms of votes, but that were also things that just showed up very frequently within the feedback. What I wanted to pull out here, because you had Dr. Bowen, Mr. Skinner, and Mr. Curott talking through some of our safety protocols, I want to pull out that our SRO program, our safety protocols, came out overwhelmingly across both methods of feedback as a strength. And given the tragedy of September 4th, when you consider that that came out overwhelmingly across from the community, from our staff, from our stakeholders, from our community members, the fact that that came out as a strength, that speaks to both the work that was done prior to September 4th, but also work that's been done since then to enhance safety, add layers. I can't say that a lot of districts that have suffered a tragedy like this would see that come out of their community feedback as a strength. It did for ours, and I think that speaks a lot to the work of the individuals across this district, our leadership at schools, our leadership in the district, and the Board of Education as well. So I think that was worth reflecting on, because that was not something that was written in stone that would happen when you have an incident like that. You can see some of those narrow themes across the strengths, improvement needs, opportunities, and threats. That information was shared with the planning team, as well as lots of key indicators. We gave them a full data notebook of metrics across accountability, operations, attendance, student discipline, all kinds of areas. We looked at data to give that planning team so that they could walk in and make the most informed decision. You actually have, Megan, if you go to the next slide, you can see a photo of our planning team. They met here in this room on December 8th. And you can also see a full listing of everyone who participated in that in your packet as well. And these were individuals that included school leaders, they included parents, they included teachers, they included community leaders. And one of the things I will say that came out overwhelmingly of this group, all of those folks showed up and did a fantastic job. But one of the things that came out over and over again, we had 4 students who participated on that planning team. We had an individual people from each of our high schools, and we had a middle school student. And I cannot tell you the number of parents, the number of community members who came up to me after that event who were just gushing about the student participation, that those student leaders that were there on that day giving their input. And frequently when you do these kind of strategic planning, the easiest voices to lose are the students. And we had tremendous student representation, and it made an impression on everyone who was there. So you'll see their names under in the planning team list, and we really want to thank them because they did a fantastic job, and they are true student leaders for Barrow County. But that group then did that work to try to come up with our strategy map. So you are looking at our draft strategy map. I want to point out those big red letters that say draft. We still may tweak some of this language. So anytime I put this in public, I want to preface that with this is a working document that may have some refinement in terms of the language. But this represents the work that team did. The blue areas you see on the left are strategic goal areas. These are the broad areas of system functioning and operation that the plan is built around. And these can be worded a little bit differently, and a lot of work was led by our GSBA facilitators to get the language right from the group that they felt best represented what we were trying to accomplish. But you can see you have student growth and success, quality workforce, organizational effectiveness, community connection and commitment, and positive culture. Those are the 5 strategic goal areas that were identified by the planning team. Those are the blue areas. To the right, and this is the way you read a strategy map like this, these are the performance objectives. These are the specific areas within those blue buckets that we are trying to refine, improve, grow, and develop in order to achieve the vision of the community. And so you can see there are a total of 16 of these that were put out there. Typically we put 3 per strategic goal area, but because we are a school system and learning is what we do, we typically give a little bit more in that particular bucket. And you can see these are the areas that we are going to be trying to grow within. Now, typically in a strategic plan, as I said, this is a draft. This is not finalized yet. These don't typically change over the course of a 5-year plan. Once you've got that approved at the board level, those strategic goal areas, the particular performance objectives, they're not going to change a whole lot. What will change over the course of the plan are the specific strategies that we are using to try to improve in those areas and the key performance indicators, the scorecard, the metrics that are letting us know how much progress we're making toward those. Those can change a lot, one because they're just based on data, and the other is as we see that we're not seeing the returns on investment on the data that we need, we have to change and adjust our strategy. So the next steps that will happen, the action team will be meeting on January 26th. They will work off of what the planning team has started. This will also be facilitated by GSBA. They will be identifying both the strategic initiatives and strategies that we'll be using to work on those performance areas, but also they're going to be working on selecting the scorecard of key performance indicators and metrics that we'll be using, and we will be very public with putting on our website, going back to any time we get our leaders together and the community together to go back to what are we trying to achieve in our plan and how are we doing towards moving in that direction. So they will be working to refine that on January 26th. In February and March, there will be a lot of independent goal work that will be going on. We may bring back virtually the planning team or the action team to do some more refinement. Our hope is to have a finalized version of this to the board for review and potential adoption in April or May. So that's the plan, where we're at currently and where we're headed. I am happy to answer any questions you may have, but we wanted to be as transparent as possible throughout this process. So I'll answer any questions you have.
Dr. Thompson, first of all, I want to applaud you and the team. I know you're leading this effort along with others. I appreciate extremely the fact that we are collaborating with GBSA. Yes. and looking at strategic planning from a different mindset. Yep. So I certainly appreciate that. And you may have said it, so my apologies. I know once we get to the process measures, performance measures, KPIs, et cetera, are we also doing that in conjunction with GBSA consultants, or are they putting in that? Are we creating?
It's
those on
built
our own?
into part of the action team's day. Like if you look at the
Okay.
agenda of what they're going to be doing, that is part of what they do. We're kind of trying to prime the pump a little bit on that. Like, we look at those kind of things regularly. The issue is sometimes we're not as aligned as we need to be. We can be very data rich, but we're not looking at the right data at the right time, aligned with the right strategies.
Okay,
So a lot of it is just focus. So we're doing work, including this week, with our school principals, our district directors, to try to look at our mid-year data, see where we're making strides, see areas we need to refine and improve, modeling that process of continuous improvement. But what will happen as part of the GSBA process with the action team is you can't just have every metric under the sun. You can't have 100 different measures that you're looking at. You need a balanced scorecard of key drivers that you're looking at that you're going to constantly be going back to. And you'll supplement that with other kinds of evidence, clearly. But what their work does is help us to select that scorecard that we're going to be being very public-facing with, additionally, that this is what we're trying to achieve, and anytime that we get together to talk about our plan and where we're at, we're going back to those KPIs.
Okay, I appreciate that very much, and I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anything else I can answer for you, the board, this evening? Not, thank you very much.
Before you leave, Mr. Thompson?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question of Mr. Cura regarding the previous safety stuff?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, when you were talking about your mapping, are you saying we're complete with all of our schools in Bear County?
Yes, sir. We actually had until July this year. We finished it before the Christmas break.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I was going to point out, July
I'm sorry, I
1st,
meant to point that
2026.
out, that John and I were able to get that done. That is kind of a big thing, that we were able to get it done before the first of the
I just
year.
wanted to say to that whole team, getting all of that done before Christmas, when July 1st is the compliance date, and all of the school dog app stuff that we're getting in congruence with all of the other safety measures. 4268, school dog isn't required. So I just appreciate all of the safety measures that we're putting in far and above what we're required to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I may editorialize, we're way ahead of the curve on mapping, and that is because Rob Curott is a machine. Like, that man does not sleep. Lastly, we have 2 action items for the board's consideration. I'm going to ask Mr. John St. Clair to come up and talk the board through those.
Thank you. If you'll indulge me for a moment before I dive into those. Immediately after the Thanksgiving break, the IT market was hit with some very bad news for consumers and for organizations like ours. Due to the artificial intelligence industry demand for components, manufacturers of components such as memory, storage, and so forth have pivoted from providing components to consumer and business markets to the artificial intelligence industry manufacturing market instead. One of the largest manufacturers of memory for the consumer market got out of the consumer market altogether. And all of that was brought to everyone's attention right after Thanksgiving. It wasn't on anyone's radar before then. Memory prices for consumers are climbing by 500%. Storage costs are doubling. And the end result, as you might expect, is stiffly increasing prices and product scarcity for computers, laptops, Chromebooks, phones. If it has a memory chip in it, it's going up in price. So we had essentially no warning this was happening. All came out in the news stories, and vendors started notifying us after Thanksgiving. Knowing we had plans for both a laptop and a Chromebook district refresh this summer, we tried to beat the coming crisis with immediate RFPs when we came back from the break. We were already budgeted. We knew our plans, so the only thing we were changing was escalating our timing to try to get ahead of the curve. I share this to preface this that we've had some challenges with the 2 action items we are bringing you today. So, for the Chromebooks, if you'll indulge me again, instead of reading you this whole piece, we're going to ask that you table this until the next meeting, and I'll tell you why. The low bid respondent, so as part of the RFP, I instructed every vendor responding that not only were they to give me a response, but that yesterday and today they were going to have to confirm their response from me to tell me that their pricing was still good, because the biggest changes were expected the very first of the year, January. The low bid respondent confirmed that they erred in their response, and their actual pricing before the increase was $255,000 more than they had submitted, so they were not valid to begin with. The second low bid that we were recommending, Virtucom, told me that their pricing has gone up by $157,000, bringing their total to $1.4 million, basically. The third lowest bid respondent told us that they felt good about the price if we were okay that they, quote, confirm availability and allocation, end quote, after we place the order, meaning they're willing to sell us products they don't have. So we are asking you to table the whole thing. Prices are kind of stable right now. They're going to get worse. But for the next X number of weeks, we think they're stable. We're putting out another RFP, duplicating this one, and we'll bring that to you at the January work session, the February board meeting.
All right.
Okay. For the next one, it's slightly better. And I'll go ahead and read you my spiel. As part of our ongoing 5-year technology refresh cycle, 750 laptops, these are for teachers, are sought to replace end-of-life systems. An RFP was posted, 15 vendors responded. All 3 respondents met the terms of the RFP, are providing laptops that are from authorized Dell reseller channels, and are not adversely listed in the SAM.gov database. Because of increases in the cost of laptops, respondents are only able to honor bid prices for the quantity of laptops they have in stock at their warehouse at the time of order. Laptops will be purchased from the lowest bid respondent first until their stock is depleted, then the second lowest bid until their stock is depleted, and finally the third, up to our maximum desired quantity of 750 laptops. So the financial impact will be a maximum of $651,712.50. That's if all 750 were bought from the third lowest respondent, from ITS Splosh Technology Refresh Funds. So, as of yesterday, the low bid respondent, Golden 5, assured me that they had product in stock at the price they were going to honor. As of 1 o'clock today, they told me their price had gone up $200 per laptop. As of yesterday, the second low bid, Milliard Tech, told me their price had gone up $600 per laptop since the time they submitted their bid. Dell let me know that they are able to honor their price through January 19th. So our recommendation is the superintendent recommends awarding the purchase of Dell laptops from the 3 low bid respondents, Golden 5 of Simi Valley at $813.22 per laptop, Milliard Tech of Clarksburg, Maryland in the amount of $817 per laptop, and Dell of Round Rock, Texas in the amount of $868.95 per laptop, 750 laptops for a combined maximum total of $651,712.50. The reality is that if the board approves this, we will be buying all 750 from Dell, which comes to that total of $651,712.50. If you have any personal purchases to make, buy them now.
Is there any chance that the market will stabilize and we'll see?
We're not expecting that until sometime in 2028. It's almost definite that we're going to see this kind of scarcity in product pricing through 2027. The hope is that sometime in 2028 that the AI, I want to say the bubble's going to burst, but it's going to probably consolidate, lowering demand, and manufacturers will return back to consumer markets.
I have one question. Help educate me, please, on, so we're replacing these, obviously, with the newer models, new laptops and Chromebooks. What happens to the old ones?
We have a service that comes and, we surplus them all, they come back here. We have a service that does a turnkey operation. They come and take them from us. They evaluate them, they grade them from A down to F, and then they put them out in an auction to get the best price, and then they take a portion of the proceeds and we get the rest. And so since they are motivated to get as much as they can for them to get their percentage, it's actually worked out fairly well for us. We've done this 2 or 3 loads of surplus now.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
All right. So we'll consider these after
Thank you.
Executive session. All right, thank
That's
you.
all we have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Thompson. All right, Ms. Houston.
Good evening. We'll start off with our SPLOST receipts for the month of December. It is $1,843,347, and that's only 1% up from the previous year. If you go on to the next slide, you can show, I've been keeping track over the past 25 years of our SPLOST receipts per year. And you can see the ebbs and flows of that. Moving on to the general fund. This is our general fund budget. We are at 50% of the year at December 31st. Our unassigned fund balance is $73,299,000. Our total fund balance is $102,214,955. Our total revenues for the year to date, December 31st, 2025, is $121 million. Our total expenditures year to date, $108.7 million. Our total revenues for the month of December was $55 million. So you see we got some property tax revenue in. And then our total expenditures for December is $17.5 million. As always, we like to see that blue line. Well, yeah, okay, we're moving along. And then there's our detail right there. And then moving on to our special revenue fund, and this is for the year-to-date November 30th. Our year-to-date revenues, $10.4 million, and our year-to-date expenditures, $11.3 million. And for our capital projects funds, $19.5 million revenue and $13.6 million in expenditures and transfers out. For our debt service, transfers in and revenue is $10.1 million, and expenditures $14.4 million. Then we have our invoice report. Do y'all have any questions on that monthly report? All right, we're going to move on to the one action item I have, and it's on House Bill 581/92. Tonight, we need to vote on a resolution to opt out of House Bill 581 for a second time, per our legislators' request with House Bill 92. As you may recall, House Bill 581 establishes a statewide floating homestead exemption that limits the annual increase in property tax assessments on homesteaded property to the prior year's rate of inflation. The legislation allows municipalities and school systems the option to opt out of this exemption. While House Bill 581 was being considered by the legislators, this board had already approved and submitted our new age-based property tax exemptions. As a result, all four exemptions took effect at the same time. In February 2025, the board voted to opt out of House Bill 581 due to the significant loss of tax revenue associated with implementing both the age-based tax exemption and the floating homestead exemption simultaneously. In addition, the board expressed a desire to maintain local control over taxation and to use the millage rate as a tool to provide tax relief to all taxpayers when possible. In July of this year, the board exercised that local control by rolling back the millage rate from 15.5 mils to 15.193 mils, providing relief to all taxpayers. In compliance with House Bill 92, we have advertised and conducted 3 required public hearings. Therefore, tonight, the superintendent recommends approving the approval and execution of the attached resolution to continue opting out of House Bill 581. Do y'all have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Houston. All right, Dr. Kurtz.
All right, thanks for having me this evening. I'm excited, even though some of what I'm going to talk about was in that needs improvement area. What I'm thankful for is our board last January, I don't think it was January, but about a year ago, recognized the need for competitive compensation as a necessary condition for attracting, supporting, and retaining high-quality staff. And without that high-quality staff, we don't get the outcomes we want for our kids. Then that was reaffirmed in policy BAB, and then the board invested in educational planners as a consultant to come conduct a classification and compensation study. And so we will get the final results of that, the completed executive summary at the end of January. But preliminarily, what we're seeing is some of the teacher data come in, and we get some heat maps for our larger groups like teachers and things. And our findings are, was we look at competitive districts. We've also put Cherokee County in there because their board and superintendent have similarly set some teacher quality goals and have recently done some of this work, so they're also a good comparison. But the other districts listed are those that we often will trade folks with and we're competing against. The T4 there is a bachelor's level teacher, and at the left side it shows 0 years of experience. And the yellow means that basically in that comparison group, we're kind of middle of the pack with those T4s. The redder it is, the less competitive we are, and the greener it is, the more competitive we are. As we go into the next one, T5 is masters. And here we're a little less competitive at the beginning, and this one's a little bit different than the next two, which would be specialist and doctorate. But this one, we get a little more competitive at the end. Not all districts have a 30-year salary schedule. That's something that I think this board added, I want to say about 6 years ago, and was a little ahead of the curve on that. Others are a little behind the curve, and so sometimes we get a little bit of a bump at the end there because Clark and Walton, a couple others haven't always added that. If we go to the T6, which is a specialist level, we fall more and more behind, and then our doctorate, the next one, we fall further behind in terms of compensation for our staff. Now, with teachers, it's fairly straightforward. There's a state board rule that all districts use to award experience. So your experience awarded in this county, in this district, is the same as every other district in the state of Georgia that's a public school. It gets a little messier when we start to look at other classes of folks. And that's why I really appreciate this board investing in the salary study from the educational planners. Our previous salary study left us in a position where our principal salaries, our principal salary scale is very competitive, very aggressive, just nobody's anywhere near the top. So working with educational planners, when we pulled the competitive districts here, we have 0 principals currently in the top half in terms of compensation, with principals and the competitors listed here. When we pull Gwinnett out, because they're just a behemoth, so we just pull Walton, Clark, Jackson, Oconee, and us, we have 4 of our 20 school leaders in the top half and 0 in the top of our current school leaders in the top half and 0 in the top quartile. So we're not as competitive there as we would want to be. Even though our salary scales make us look very competitive, the systems that we're using to award experience are outside of what's being used, or sort of outside of the market metrics used in other districts. And so we're disadvantaging ourselves there in trying to attract, retain, and support our high-quality leaders. And so those are a couple of areas that are coming in the preliminary data that we'll need to look at. The end of this month, as we get that executive summary, we'll then take those recommendations, work with the board, begin to prioritize those, look at costs of those things, what we want to implement, how we want to implement, and then begin our communication plan on those. Because if people don't know, we can't use them to attract good folks, retain good folks, and things like that. So we're trying to move as quickly as we can, but we want to get this right. This is the first time since, in a decade, since 2016, so almost a decade now. And this is our opportunity to get a lot of things in line, both internally and then externally competitive. And I really appreciate the opportunity and your early recognition of that, and the opportunity to engage in this work, because quality teaching is, quality staff, not just teachers, counselors. We had Bear Creek up here talking about their counselor leaders. We're talking about their bus driver leaders with Mr. Ayers, et cetera. And so all of those things matter, and we want the best. Questions, thoughts?
One question, Dr. Kurtz. When you say competitive principal pay scale, but you said none of our principals are at the top or anywhere near where they should be.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on what that means?
Sure. The way experience is currently awarded, a principal could have been an educator for 25 years, but for the principal pay scale purposes, if it's their first year as a principal, they get put at year 0. And so kind of unless you are a principal since 14 or 15, you're not really ending up at that top. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you needed to be a Doogie Howser a little bit. I don't know if folks remember that, but and so we needed to get a little more thorough with this, because when people just do a salary study, they just look at our salaries, and our teachers are looking at their wallets. Our principals are looking at what they take home, and they can see what their colleagues are taking home. And so we need to be really thorough with that and do all the work that they're going to do.
So, to help me understand.
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and a second caveat to that is, and I think you alluded to it, but we've heard a lot about teachers and then we've heard about principals tonight. But this salary study is all-encompassing for all of our staff.
It is, yeah. So it is looking at all positions. They may not do heat maps for large or smaller categories, if there's only one position that looks like this, or we choose to structure something where our transportation supervisors have dispatch duties, but somewhere else they have specific dispatchers. So it's a little harder there. So then we're going to look at work duties and things like that. But yes, they're looking at every single position, and that's where the classification becomes really important. What are they doing, not just what is their title? Teacher and principal are the easiest ones to pick on, just because a principal's a principal here or next door in Walton, and a teacher is too. Ms. Lori?
Oh, okay, back to my question. It kind of ties into his question about the leadership.
Mhm.
So are we compensating our leaders differently than the neighboring districts are in terms of years of service?
We are. I've not found a district. So yes, in a variety of ways. So we actually have a base 190 days that are at the at their teacher pay. So it does recognize their experience. Then the additional days on their calendar are all a function of their principal pay. So it's sort of two pay scales on top of each other, which does make it a little more complicated. So it makes it harder for applicants to say, hey, when I go there, I have an idea, here's where I'm going to be. And we run into this. We even run into this in maintenance a lot. The way we award experience kind of hurts us there too. Somebody's been doing this a long time as a maintenance worker, but they haven't been a plumber, and our position was a plumber. And so all of a sudden somebody knows they've been in the trades for 25 years, which included plumbing, but not specifically for a plumbing company, and we think we've got a good plumber here on the hook, that we can work with and can help, because we want our plumbing to work. We want all those things to work well, and they're not anywhere near. They're coming in because we can only really count 2 years of them as plumbing. They're coming really low on the pay scales. And we can't just fix that for the new plumber, because we've got to fix that for all of our plumbers. And so we've got to look really carefully at how we're doing that for a variety of those things. And the more clear we can make it, so that we're not layering a pay scale on top of a pay scale on top of a pay scale. Not that there'll be none of that. There is a teacher who's also our cheer coach who, got all those young ladies here to get some state awards. And they would get their teaching pay plus a supplement. But the more that we can have those things clear, the better.
How do we do as far as benefits? Because, people don't just work for their salary, they're also working for their retirement. And how are we scaling up in that department?
So the two largest benefits, that's a great question, and they really also work for the leadership environment, and I think that's a lot of the work we're also trying to do as executive cabinet and follow the board's lead with the strategic plan. I mean, that's the really other big driver, but is really the work environment created by leadership. But benefits, the two big ones, our retirement benefits and our health care benefits are fairly standardized. So the TRS and PSERS, which is our public service and employee retirement system for our, I won't say non-certified, but some of our trades folks and bus drivers, those are standard across the state. So we're kind of equally competitive there. We did just add something to our PSERS folks in the last year's budget. So this will be the second year where we have a 3% match for a 403B retirement for them. The PSERS is a significantly less generous plan. It does not allow for a very healthy retirement, but the 3% match would encourage folks to set aside. So we're a little bit on the front edge of that. We're not the only ones doing that, but in terms of Social Security districts, there are not a ton of Social Security districts that do a match. And that's the other place I guess we have a small advantage, can be a disadvantage if you want to compare to Gwinnett a little bit there, because they have a separate retirement system. A few decades ago, districts were able to opt out of Social Security, and save some, payroll taxes for themselves and their staff, and then make their own retirement system. it has pros and cons of both. It depends on how well you do the system and how well you market what you're doing. But having Social Security has generally been fairly attractive to folks who have not had Social Security and are worried about retiring without their 40 quarters or under Social Security benefits. So that's, in general, probably a slight bump, with the exception of Gwinnett, who has a fairly well-funded private retirement, secondary retirement system. And then the other benefits, I'm sorry. So then there's these ancillary benefits, and that gets exciting too. And I believe at our work session, Ms. McNally will be talking to you about that. So, sorry, you guys have great questions. So we've just put out an RFP for a new benefits broker. It's been over 15 years. We've been with the same company. Mr. Etheridge asked about looking at consortiums for those types of things, and what I found is there aren't any that I could find in the state. People are using brokers because the consortiums end up locking them down to a narrower set of products that may or may not meet the services of an area. In other words, okay, in our area, Delta Dental, more of our people are in network than Emeritus, or, then it changes depending on what those folks are doing. And through a brokerage service, it kind of does end up acting like that consortium that you were talking about, where it gives you the larger buying power of the bigger group, but also gives you some greater local control, so they can bid it out and have relationships with Delta Dental, Emeritus, and can, get them bidding against each other on fairly regular things. So we are looking at our brokerage services. And then once we bring a new broker to the district, we're looking for a couple of things out of that. One will be good services in terms of the products, and then the other is greater efficiencies. How much, they're making money off of the district. How much can we get them to make sure that our payroll department, our benefits folks, and human resources aren't having to work extra hard to reconcile things and to solve problems, and how smooth can we make it? In terms of pricing and products, the underwriters like Emeritus, Delta Dental, IMED, and those kinds of things are fairly universal. So that we will be looking at folks' buying power, sort of with that consortium model, with the idea that a larger one can get us some greater buying power. And we're really leaning very heavily on references, and so Ms. McNally will bring that to you. I don't think the products will be radically different. I do think we can get some slightly better rates, and we can get some better services and support for those products. It would be our goal.
Thank you.
Yeah, great questions.
Dr. Kurtz, I just have one more comment.
Yes.
We are sure glad you're here.
Oh, man, I love being here. Thanks.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, guys.
This is exciting. I'm glad to see us doing this work, and really look forward to seeing what we're going to be able to do in the next few years, over the next few years. Yes. All right. At this time, I believe we have a request to appear.
Yes, we do. Good evening. Tonight we have one request to address our Board of Education. Before we welcome them to the podium, please keep in mind board policies which summarize state: the Barrow County Board of Education values public input about topics concerning our schools. Only residents of our district, representatives of organizations in our district, our student families, or school system employees may address the board. Each speaker is given 3 minutes and is asked to be civil and refrain from disparaging remarks concerning staff or that violate privacy laws. The board may stop a speaker if guidelines are not followed. The board will take each speaker's comments and questions into consideration. However, no action will be taken at the meeting. Generally, board members will not respond to questions or comments, but may if you choose to do so. Now, we invite our first speaker, our only speaker. Apologies, I'm reading from this, Ms. Roll. If you could please also restate your name when you come up. Thank you.
Good evening, board, and those of you that are accompanying us tonight. I missed the Appalachia staff. I really wanted to commend them, even for the band making it out for the new year. I thought that was amazing. And I just wanted to just come in, first of all, with some love, because I had the wonderful opportunity over the weekend to join those monks, and it gave me a refreshing start for the 2026 year. So I wanted to just get that out there really quickly. And I want to start with saying, again, first I want to thank Barrow County Schools and the board for the steps that you guys have already taken for the district. I do see some remarkable changes, and I think it will be beneficial not only for the students and staff, but for the community. I come before you not only as a community member, but someone who is actively within the school system as a substitute. My daughter actually attends Appalachia. I have an older 3 that graduated from Appalachia, and just to see the growth there. But I wanted to say that I think we've become too laxed. Being in the school system, I am witnessing a lot of things, and I'm big on going back to your pre-K and kindergarten days to reflect on who was teaching you then and to understand the value and the importance of our teachers, because without them, none of us would be in this room. And so with that being said, I think it's very challenging for these teachers to come in with a heart of teaching when they don't have the appropriate support. And with that, I mean, number one, for students, I want to say this briefly because my time is going. My mom and dad were great parents, but my mom was a part of that crack epidemic. But you know, that was no excuse for us to go to school in pajamas. We washed our clothes on hand so that we can go to school appropriately. And so when I'm in schools, and especially high school, middle school, and I don't know if I'm walking into a nightclub or some kind of gentleman's club, I find it to be inappropriate. I think we need to get back to maybe some more heavy, and when I say heavy, from a loving place, of course, disciplinary actions, and get parents involved. We need to get back to assemblies, getting people from the community to come in and talk to our students. And we don't need always, like, professionals as far as celebrities. We can get local people to come in and get with our students to assist them with real life, because I think we've gotten away from that too. These students need real life, and I give them that, not only through my love, but my discipline as well, because I do believe in connecting with these students before we correct them. But definitely would love to see some more changes disciplinary-wise, indoor school suspension, get parents involved, 3 tiers. If your child act up 3rd tier, I don't care if you're in 12th grade, come up to the school and saddle your child for the day.
Thank you.
Thank you, staff.
All right, at this time, we need to go into executive session. Could I have a motion to, all right, let me complete this statement, then we'll take it.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. To discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent. We have a motion by Ms. Kelly.
Yes.
All right, second.
A second.
Ms. Maddox. All in favor? All right. We will return.
Hey, my name is Ellen Petrie. I'm the School and Community Relations Specialist for the Bexar County School System. I had the pleasure of working with 31 churches, 4 civic clubs, and about 10 or 12 businesses for our backpack drive this year. We are just thrilled with the outpouring of love for our children and for the great school year they're going to have. We had a huge host of volunteers here, and everyone coming together in this community to help support our children.
We are having so much fun out here today giving away these backpacks, and honestly, we could not do any of this without our amazing volunteers. So we have almost 50 people here, kids, adults, senior adults, all helping us give these backpacks to our community, and so it is honestly the most incredible morning.
Yes, it's amazing, and one great thing is that we partner with all Barrow County schools.
Yes.
So it's been so cool for me to see so many families I know through Auburn Elementary, West Side, and every other school. It's just amazing, and we're having a great day.
Hi, I'm Faith Spalding. I'm a lieutenant with the Barrow County Sheriff's Office, and I'm here this year for the Back to School Bash. I've been doing it many years now. We have a large amount of volunteers from schools, communities, families. They all come together for one purpose, and that's to serve the students of Barrow County. And it's an awesome event. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time, but at the end it's worth it when we can put those book bags in the car and wish them a very good day and to have a happy and safe school year.
I love the opportunity to see families and be able to give to them
resources, and the book bags make them smile, and so it's an opportunity as a social worker for me to actually do something for them, as opposed to sometimes when I meet with families it's not always a positive exchange. And so this is a positive exchange. It's a great way to start off the year on a fresh foot and an opportunity to just sort of give back to the community and to see them excited about a fresh new school year.
So the logistics for something like this is crazy. There's a lot of people, a lot of volunteers, and that's honestly the only way it works, is having people that are here to serve and to give in their time, their talent. And I mean, there's a ton of people here volunteering, and that's what it takes. It takes just a village to do this, to pull this off, and so we're so thankful for all our volunteers.
And we think we did over 200 bags.
Yes.
At least 200 bags that we were able to put together beyond that giant pile you've probably already seen. It was a great experience because I love seeing both people in wheelchairs and kids.
And small children, yes.
Who could absolutely help fill all those backpacks. And they felt like they were helping and they were a part of the solution, which is awesome.
And they're very fulfilling and very united together.
Absolutely.
And good job.
Thank
again.
you, and good job to you. Thanks.
I'm Seneca Titshaw, and I'm a senior at Winder Barrow High School. I've played softball since I was 3 years old, and it's taught me a lot of life lessons, and I've met some of my best friends. Softball has taught me to never give up and persevere, and even through hard times, don't worry about it and just keep going. Coach Garrett, my law teacher, has had a big impact on me. He made me want to pursue my career in criminal justice, and someone that I can always count on outside of school. In senior year softball, I hit my first home run against Appalachia. I scored the only run that game. And in basketball, I scored to secure the win, a three-point shot against Clark Central in overtime. I plan to attend the University of North Georgia to pursue a degree in criminal justice to become a game warden. I'm an honor graduate, and I will graduate with hope. I would give myself advice as a freshman to always take chances and don't be afraid to ask for help or meet new people.
From Dr. Kristen Michael, and he is recognizing you as September Community Member of the Month for all the behind-the-scenes things that you do.
So Joe knows who I am, but I'm Jennifer Wood, and I have the pleasure of being the CEO out here at Sims Academy, and I'm also the CTAE Director for Barrow County Schools. And I wanted to nominate Joe because he is a guy who doesn't want all the accolades, but he is a true supporter of Barrow County School System and Sims Academy. Joe's been around since the beginning of Sims Academy, so back in 2014 when this building opened, and he's been involved every year since then as a very active and chair of the board. I know Joe also serves as chair SGT for Holstenbeck Elementary School. I know you're a Rotarian, you serve as chair on so many other committees, workforce development, Benton Chamber, and so I think you're such an asset to the school system and to Barrow County community. And I just want to thank you for all of your support to me and to the school system and to Sims in the years that we've known each other, but even in the years prior to me coming into this role. You really have such a wealth of knowledge and experience, and you're just always willing to lend a hand and to help out and to be a voice for, again, for our students and our community members in Barrow County.
Well, I thank you for that. It's very humbling. And I feel like it's really an honor for me in particular, not just to be recognized this way, but to be allowed to participate in what goes on around here. So let me introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joe Vogt. I work for Solvay, a chemical manufacturing company, who has a site here in Winder. I don't do any of this for recognition. And in fact, many times when I sit in contemplate the things that I do, I'm not sure that I actually do anything. I go to a lot of meetings, right? Jennifer made comment of the fact that my experience is pretty deep, and it is. In manufacturing, that's everything I've ever done since I walked out of college. As I said, I go to a lot of different meetings. I'm involved with a lot of different people. And when you take the time to do that, you have the opportunity to connect a lot of dots in this community that other people might not be able to do. And I've tried my best to connect those dots to the benefit of the community. And I think that after 20 years, it's starting to be an opportunity here to do that. So I finally realized that it wasn't necessarily the case that I needed to make things happen all the time. What I needed to do is put the right people in the same place and let them hear all the same things that I was hearing. And that has really been, if there's any contribution I can point to, that would be it. I think a lot more people in this community are educated about workforce development. They're a lot more knowledgeable about the advances that Barrow County school system has made over the past 20 years. And if I get the right people sitting in the right room and get a chance to talk about that, I do.
And thank you. Yeah.
My name is Jordy Bohannon. I'm an English teacher at Appalachia High School. I've been working here for 7 years. I teach AP language to 11th graders and reading support to 9th graders. I'm also the student council sponsor, assistant girls basketball coach, co-sponsor of the International Travel Club, and the academic coach for the football team. Well, on a daily basis, I typically wake up around 6:30, leave the house at 7:15 in order to be at work by 8. Throughout the day, we have 4 1.5-hour long blocks, 3 for instruction and 1 for planning. After school, I typically am out the door by 5. Obviously, during basketball season, that time becomes any time between 6 p.m., 10 p.m., often later. So with our 8 to 4 workday, I'm usually here at least 1 extra hour and often a few more after that. I really enjoy teaching high school because I think students are at this really interesting moment in life where they are still kids, but they're preparing for what's going to come next, whether they're going to enter the workforce or go on to college or even join the military. So they're at this really transitional phase where I think you can have a huge impact. When it comes to building relationships with students, I think that care and respect is just like the ultimate cornerstone of that. You have to show them love and care and respect in order to get that in return, in order for them to trust you. And I think trust is a huge component. One thing that I want people outside of the profession of education to understand about teaching is that teachers are experts in both their content area and the science of pedagogy. I think a lot of people assume that because they went to school, they understand what teachers do. But what you see from a student perspective is so little of the whole picture. So a lot of my lesson planning happens during my planning block each day, but I also have a 45-minute lunch duty during that time as well. And this is one of the spaces where our professional learning communities are really helpful because we're able to meet as a group on a content area team and really get a lot of that work done together through that collaboration or split that work up. And so I think the biggest challenge with planning is asking ourselves, where do we need our students to go? What do we need them to know, do, and understand? And then the plans become like how we get them there from where they are right now. It's tricky because those plans are always changing. They have to be flexible and they have to be reflexive and they have to move, which is what makes it difficult because it's something you have to work on every day rather than at the beginning of the unit or at the end of a unit in order to revise for next year. The first thing teachers have to do is be willing to decenter their own experiences and themselves in order to prioritize the experiences of their students. I think successful teachers have to believe that all people can and also want to do well both in the classroom and in life at large. And then on a more literal level, oh gosh, there's planning and instruction and collaborating with our peers and analyzing data and building relationships and, hearing about heartbreaks and giving advice and, oh wow, that's just so all of the above.
My name is Corinne Mathis, and I'm a senior at Appalachia High School. I grew up in, of course, Barrow County, and I've been here all 18 years of my life. Growing up, I was really surrounded by family, and that's really all I know is my family. They taught me how to be the strong person that I am today and the strong speaker that I am now. I was heavily involved in church and outgoing programs, so when I got into high school, I was really prepared in joining all the clubs that I can and getting super involved with my community, because that's how I was raised. Skills USA shaped me into being a great person and a great leader for my community. I know a lot of people say that Skills USA helps them make friends or figure out their occupation for the future, but for me, Skills USA has just become a lot more than that. With Skills USA, I've learned to speak up and explain myself in better ways than I ever could before. It made me realize that there are people here to help me and help me understand my future and what I want to do. And it also did help me make friends. My teacher that has made an outlasting impression on me is Ms. Pugh. She was I first met her my freshman year as my criminal justice teacher. And honestly, I didn't like her.
Been presented with 3 items. One we'd like to table. Could I have a motion to table the Chromebooks RFP? Okay.
Second, Mr. Kelly.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Kelly and second by Mr. Callaway. All in favor? We'll table that. And then we have 2 items to consider. The laptop RFP. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Ms. Hendricks.
Ms. Hendricks, motion to approve, and second? Second by Ms. Bradford.
Ms. Maloof, I'd like to recuse myself.
All right. All right. Second, we had a motion by Ms. Hendricks, second by Ms. Bradford. Okay, all in favor? Okay. Passes 7-1. All right, and then House Bill 58192, the superintendent recommends approving and signing the attached resolution regarding opting out of House Bills 581 and 92. Do I have a motion to approve? Ms. Bradford, second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Maddox. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? All opposed? All right. Passes 6-3.
We might need to, just so she can record who's who there. Good?
Got it. All right. Thank you very much. Our next meeting is January 27th. Oh, got it. Yep. We need to approve the personnel report. All right. Motion to approve our personnel report. Ms. Kelly, motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Ms. Hendricks. All in favor? Very good. All right. We'll be back on the 27th for our work session, and with no further business, we will now adjourn.